up, all my fight fans? So this Saturday we got ourselves UFC 281. I've talked a lot about the Alex Pereira versus Izzy Adesanya. I talked about Charles, Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier. Guys, there's one fighter that we should be talking about who deserves our respect. Who, if you've been a fan of the UFC, if you've been watching UFC, as a matter of fact, if you've been watching MMA, you have to like this guy. Yes, I am talking about Frankie the Answer Edgar. Guys, this is his last fight at UFC 281. It's against a guy named Chris Gutierrez. I heard about him. He's doing, seems to be doing okay. But nonetheless, guys, this is Frankie Edgar. This is his retirement fight. This is it. This is where he's hanging up. He's not hanging him up. He's gonna put the gloves down in the middle of the canvas and he's gonna call it a day. Guys, what a career Frankie Edgar has had. I mean, he has literally fought the who's who. He has literally went toe-to-toe with the very best. I'm talking legends. I'm talking Hall of Famers. I'm talking about champions. Guy has literally fought everybody in three weight divisions. Three weight divisions. Let's go through it, guys. I mean, he was the champion at lightweight. Defended it 3 times. You know, he went to a draw with Gray Maynard, defended it twice against Gray Maynard, and unfortunately lost to Benson Henderson. Then he went down to featherweight, challenged for the belt 3 times there, twice against Jose Aldo and once against Max Holloway. Then he had some okay fights in bantamweight, but at that time he was done. You know, by that time his age had caught up to him, and the lighter you go, that's a young man's game. You know, at heavyweight, it seems like when you're much older, when you're about Frankie Edgar's age, you should be okay at heavyweight because you don't have to rely on so much speed. But because of the fact that, you know, at bantamweight, featherweight, and lightweight, these guys are just fast. Especially at lightweight, it is nothing the same the way it was with with Frankie Edgar. When Frankie Edgar was doing his thing against BJ Penn and against all Gray Maynard and such, it was a different division. But now you look at the division now, you look at these guys, these guys are yoked. Look at Michael Chandler. You know, look at Tony Ferguson. Look at Justin Gaethje. Look at Dustin Poirier. Look at Habib. Look at Connor. You know, all these guys are just giants, bigger and badder. You look at them compared to the guys at lightweight back in the day, it's just a different ball game. You know, but again, Frankie Edgar did it. Frankie Edgar was able to challenge it. Frankie Edgar was able to go overcome it. Frankie Edgar was able to become champion. And not very many people could actually say they did that. And look at all the Hall of Famers that he went against. You know, look at all of them. Like Gray Maynard is a Hall of Famer. BJ Penn 3 times, Hall of Famer. Benson Henderson should be a Hall of Famer, of course. You know, Jose Aldo twice, Hall of Famer. Uriah Faber, Hall of Famer. You know, the list goes on and on and on about this guy who he went against. So I'm asking you guys right now, what is your favorite Frankie Edgar moment? My favorite Frankie Edgar moment had to have been that first Gray Maynard fight, where Frankie Edgar was literally dropped 3 times. He was getting rocked. He was getting hit around left and right, left and right, left and right. It looked like the fight was going to be over with. You know, we know Frankie Edgar. We've seen the guy who went against BJ Penn, stop BJ Penn, the prodigy, who was by far the best lightweight of all time. And he was able to stop him and become the champion and defended it against BJ Penn. So he defended against BJ Penn, defended it against Gray Maynard twice. So he was able to do it 3 times. Quite possibly 4 times, but that fight went to the first draw. That's right, the first fight I'm talking about. And yes, he literally could have been stopped. And the fight could have been stopped. But no, it went into an all-out brawl. Frankie Edgar fought back. He fought very well. And he fought great. And he was able to come back, bounce back off that from a decision. And then he was able to stop and get that win over Gray Maynard those 2 other fights. So, man, this guy had no quit in him. Frankie Edgar never had any quit in him. He's actually never really been knocked out up until his last 4 fights. Unfortunately, he lost quite a few fights towards the end of his career. He lost against the likes, and these guys ain't no punks either. You know, he lost to the likes of Brian Ortega, then he lost to Korean Zombie, then he lost to Chito Vera, then he lost to Sanhagen. He lost to Sanhagen. So, yeah, you know, Frankie Edgar is just by far the legend of legends right now. Honestly, he made it very exciting for the lightweights. You know, BJ Penn made it very good for the lightweights and made it fun for them too, but Frankie Edgar just was like that new era of excitement. He was just fast. He was just quick. It was just like a nonstop all-action brawls when it came to Frankie Edgar. It was just like really like, whoa. You know, it was just a whole new different level, a whole new different ball game when Frankie Edgar came around. Because Frankie Edgar, like, it was nothing really like that. They don't know, like these guys. Some of these guys were going back and forth, and yeah, they may have had their maybe featherweights a little bit. You know, you had Jose Aldo around there. You know, at WEC. So no one's ever really seen that. If you weren't watching WEC, you weren't really seeing that kind of level of fighting like Frankie Edgar was doing, other than WEC. But if, like again, like I was saying, if you aren't watching WEC, you didn't see it until you saw Frankie Edgar, and Frankie Edgar came in with this new speed, this new way of fighting that really surprised a lot of people. That took a lot of people back and were like, "Whoa, I don't know how to control that." And that's what was so difficult for BJ Penn, because BJ Penn was just unstoppable. BJ Penn was just on a different level when it came to his skill. You know, we already know, we could talk all day about BJ Penn, but when Frank Edgar came around, it was just like, "Whoa, this guy's just fast." He was quick on his feet. You know, he just kept moving. You couldn't get him to stay still whatsoever. He had great wrestling. He had great boxing. So the guy had it all. So he had one hell of a career. One hell of a career. It's gonna be a sad day to see him go, but we're actually happy that he's leaving too, because we don't want to see him take any more damage. We definitely don't. You know, he's taken a lot of damage already. Happy this is his last fight. I kind of wish it was a different fighter. No offense to Chris Gutierrez. We were hoping to get that Dominic Cruz fight somewhere around there. You know, kind of like a legend versus legend. But nonetheless, this is his last fight. Guys, please let me know in the comments what you think about his best moments, what your favorite moments are, what your favorite fights are. Let me know about it all in the comments about Frankie Edgar. Guys, again, Frankie Edgar's last fight at UFC 281. Do not miss it. Thanks for watching, guys.